under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if you all remain standing, please, for a moment of silence for those men and women serving in our armed services, veterans, those who give the ultimate sacrifice, and this evening, for the senseless killing of police officers around the country. May their families, may they rest in peace, and may their families be given some comfort in this time, please. Clerk will call the roll.
Councilor Henderson.
Here.
Condon.
Here.
Crowe. D'Angelo.
Here.
DeMaria.
Here.
Kinnon.
Here.
Matheson.
Here.
O'Malley.
Here.
Sika.
Here.
Spatafora. Murphy.
Here. First order of business.
Application for renewal of self-service gasoline station, Speedway 2504 214 to 221 Broadway. Application for new livery license, Sellers Lorette, 1 Mont Street.
On Councilor Anderson's motion to refer to the License Committee, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Petitions are referred to the License Committee.
Petition of Verizon Wireless to attach small cell antennas and supporting equipment to existing non-municipal utility poles in the public rights-of-way on Newland Street, Highland Ave, and Summer Street. A hearing is required.
I declare the public hearing open. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this petition, please approach the podium and state your name and address.
Good evening, my name is Betsy Vincent.
One moment, I'm sorry.
Certainly, no problem.
Is that, try that again, if you're on.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. My name is Betsy Mason. I'm an attorney in Plain Middleton. Here on behalf of Verizon Wireless, which has filed these petitions for rent location to locate small cell antennas on each of 3 utility poles in the city. One on Summer Street, one on Highland Avenue, and one on, actually just off of Route 99, where the Stop and Shop used to be. Newland Street is the address, but that's the location. I can basically answer questions if you have any.
I think if you give us a moment, I think that the council is just reviewing the documentation at the moment.
Okay.
Yes, Councilor Anderson, you have the
Yes,
floor.
would you describe, I'm just seeing this now, would you describe for us, please, what this antenna looks like, what size it is, and so forth?
Yes, definitely. There are actually 3 different sizes of antennas, but all within about 2.5 to 3.5 feet. Actually, the smallest is 28.7 inches, so a little over 2 feet, and the largest is 38.7 inches, so just a little over 3 feet, so about that tall, or that tall, about a foot wide each, and the antennas themselves are enclosed within fiberglass, basically like a large tube, a canister, so that they look like a traditional electric transformer. Verizon Wireless designed the antennas so that they would look like basically what you see on a typical utility pole now. So it's sort of stealth designed so that you wouldn't notice it.
And they would go on your joint-owned poles, is that?
Yes, that's right. And actually, the poles are owned, co-owned by National Grid and Verizon Telecom, Verizon, the wireline folks, not us, the wireless folks.
Joint-owned poles.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have all councils had a chance to review? Do you have questions, Councilor Matheson?
I don't know that I've had a chance to review. I mean, we're kind of doing this on the fly. So I'm looking at the one that concerns Summer Street. Is this to boost cell phone service? What's the purpose here?
Basically, yes. The idea is twofold. The Summer Street one in particular, we'll back up. Verizon and every carrier has what we call macro sites, which are the typical towers that you see, monopole towers or the lattice towers, the sort of old-fashioned towers, and rooftop installations. We call those macro sites because they're higher up and they have a higher power, so they broadcast and transmit across a greater distance. Then we have micro sites or small cell sites. It's fairly new technology, as it suggests. They've shrunk the antennas down to very small, compact packages that can be installed on tops of utility poles. And the idea is they're installed in a lower height, they're much lower power, and they serve two uses. One is to provide, typically, boost your coverage in an area where there's higher demand, or actually really to boost capacity. So when there's an area where a lot of folks are using their cell phones, for example, a mall, it allows for more users to actually not have dropped calls. The other primary use, and the use for the Summer Street installation in particular, is to offload calls from the macro sites to basically serve as a backup, so that if a macro site is overloaded, the small cell site will pick up some of the excess, if you will. So what Verizon Wireless does is every macro site is divided into three sectors. There are three sets of antennas that face, the full circle around. Each of those sectors, depending on what area it's serving, may at times be essentially overwhelmed by not just the voice services, but really more these days data services. Everybody has their phones. They're not just using them for phone calls anymore. We're all downloading video, audio, checking the baseball scores, whatever. There's just the use of phones for data services over the past 5 years has more than tripled. It's grown exponentially. So these sites are designed to sort of pick up capacity in areas where there's denser demand. Yeah. Okay, certainly. Yeah.
I don't have an immediate question, but I'd like a few minutes to digest this information before calling for a vote. Maybe we've already done the public meeting.
Yes, and I actually have a question myself, so.
Go ahead.
Yes, and I have a light on, Councilor Kinnon first. Yes, Councilor Spatafor.
What's your name again?
Betsy Mason.
Hi, Betsy.
Hi.
So we're looking at, this is the first time we saw these diagrams?
Yeah, they're pretty new. I mean, Verizon's one of the first companies to roll them out, and we're rolling them out across Massachusetts, but...
No, I'm saying this is the first time we got...
Oh, see the documents.
Yes. So I got a question on this color document, right? Can you see this one? What are these yellow indicating? These, is that the overhead lines? These series?
May I approach you?
Yeah. I just don't understand, I think that's the pole you're talking
Yes,
about?
yeah.
And then what is this in? Why are you referencing this? Just a... So it has nothing to do with yellow, all you guys is that yellow. So all these other lines, we're not taking codes or anything like that?
Yeah.
So none of this matters except that.
Yeah, I saw everything.
Right, and there's no trenching involved for each of these poles. We're taking advantage of the existing power and fiber telecommunications on the poles already. So
We have a motion to table, but I'd like to actually maybe get some of the questions out first, so that we know, I think Councilor Kinnon and I have a very similar concern. And I'm going to give Councilor Kinnon the floor at the moment, because Councilor Spatafor's point of interest seems to be answered. Okay.
And I'll double quick once you can put out this bag.
Okay. Councilor Kinnon.
Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Betsy
Betsy
Mason.
Mason.
Miss Mason. My question has to do with the human element and health around having these. How long have these particular ones been in use?
They are really just being rolled out. Now.
Just being rolled out?
Past year or so.
And where have you rolled them out?
Oh, boy.
What cities around here?
Woburn, Max Franklin Construction Consulting Group, who is with me here. Let's see, Woburn, Bellingham, Dennis on the Cape, Sandwich on the Cape.
Any greater Boston cities like this?
Yes, Newton, like I said, Woburn.
Boston's the process of improving.
Yeah, actually, yeah, Boston and Verizon Wireless just signed a $300 million huge contract over the next 10 years for Boston to have.
And anywhere outside of Massachusetts that these have been rolled out?
I believe so, but honestly, I guess New Massachusetts only, so I.
And so how long has this product
Yes,
been in existence?
can't say for sure, but I know that we've been approaching municipalities about locating them for the past year or so.
About a year?
Yes.
Okay, and do you have any data on the health aspects
I do
and
not have any
the testing that has been done that we could get?
Well, I have two responses to that. First, I don't have any specific data with me, but I can certainly get some if that's a concern.
Yes.
As I said, these are much smaller units, much lower power, well within the Federal Communication Commission's maximum permissible exposure levels, which are, as the phrase suggests, geared towards protecting human health and radio frequency emissions. But I also have to point out that under the Federal Telecommunications Act of 1996, local governments may not use potential human health effects, radio frequency emissions, as a basis for making a decision on wireless carriers' application to locate a wireless telecommunication facility. At least Congress not me.
I don't blame you. It doesn't mean they can't change.
That's true.
So I would like that information.
Council, is that Council Condon? Council Condon.
Yes, where are they going to be located on Island Avenue?
In the public right of way, but adjacent to 541 Highland Avenue, which is, I believe that's right by the field there.
Yeah, it's right by the park.
Yeah, I think the idea is to not just provide the handoff, backing up from the macro sites, but also to, yeah, to help all to serve.
That's where
customers in the-
that's where it'll be located, at Amherst?
It is kind of on the southeast corner, just a bit down the street, but
Across from Joe Lincoln's house.
but the idea would be to provide coverage to the park. Again, because it's a smaller unit, lower power, the coverage will not extend very far. I mean, essentially across the park and no further.
Okay. Yes. Okay. We do have the public hearing open, so we'll just continue that, and then we can table the determination at the end. Council Madison, did you still have a couple of questions, or are you okay?
No, I'll just make a motion to table that for first.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Mason. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Oh, yes, Councilor Anderson.
Ms. Mason, so tell us what these antennas are going to do for cell phones. I guess I didn't catch that. Why should we want, excuse me, why should we want these things in our city?
Improved cell phone service in areas where there is greater demand for the services, voice services and data services. Verizon has a whole, not just a whole team, but a whole division of people, the radio frequency group, who monitor essentially dropped calls and areas of poor coverage. They collect that data, they run it through software programs to determine where coverage needs to be better. And they have determined, based on their engineering studies, that these particular areas could use better coverage. In addition, they have determined that the macro sites that would be offloading some of the service they're providing because of the overwhelm would benefit from small cells being located in these locations.
Okay,
So
thank you.
the overall idea is...
That's fine, I'm fine.
Right.
Thank you, Madam
Sorry
President.
you walked away, thought I was done.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mason. Once again, does anyone else wish to speak in favor of this petition? Seeing and hearing no one, I declare that portion of the public hearing closed. Thank you, Ms. Mason, you may sit down. Does anyone wish to speak in favor, anyone wish to speak against this petition? Anyone wishing to speak against this petition, please come to the podium. Seeing and hearing no one, I declare that portion of the public hearing closed. On Councilor Madison's motion to table the matter, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? The matter will be tabled pending additional information to be provided to the council. Thank you.
That section 10.13 of the revised ordinances be amended relative to charcoal and propane grills. Councilor Spatafora.
Thank you, Council Murphy. I'm going to be referring this and all the others to either joint planning ordinance or ordinance. I just wanted to, yeah, I know, but I just wanted to be able, because a resident asked me, and unfortunately I didn't know, this particular reference, because I know the gentleman in the audience, is something that the state is requiring us to match their state code. So that's what this policy is. It is not the city trying to create this change. It is basically the state fire code. Council? I mean, excuse me, clerk.
There's an existing ordinance that requires a distance of 5 feet between a grill and any structure. The state fire code requires 10 feet.
Yep.
Our ordinance should match that.
So we're still going to refer to ordinance. I just wanted to put that clarification on there.
On Council Spatafora's motion to refer the matter to ordinance, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The matter is referred to ordinance.
Be it ordained that Chapter 12 of the revised ordinances be amended relative to parking, open space, special permits, and mitigation. Councilor Spatafora.
Council Spatafora.
Refer to the joint ordinance, excuse me, refer to planning?
That's planning and ordinance.
On Council Spatafora's motion to refer to a joint planning and ordinance committee meeting, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? The matter will be referred to planning and ordinance.
Be it ordained that Chapter 12 of the revised ordinances be amended relative to inclusionary zoning. Councilors O'Malley and DiMaria.
Councilor O'Malley?
Thank you, Madam President. So this is regarding inclusionary zoning. So those that don't know what inclusionary zoning is, it would require new development over 5 units to provide 10, 15, 20% affordable and moderate income housing. That number can be changed, it can be increased, it can be decreased. The way that moderate income family household is described in the greater Boston area is actually less than $73,000. So this would really greatly benefit normal people in our city, including myself and probably some of us up here also. So I would request that we send this to a joint planning board and ordinance hearing.
On Councilor O'Malley's motion to refer this to joint planning ordinance meeting, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The matter will be sorry, Councilor Cannon. I'm sorry. The matter will be referred to the joint planning and ordinance committee.
Be it ordained that Chapter 12, Section 300.3 of the revised ordinances be amended relative to use regulations for adult day health care. Councilor Anderson.
Councilor Anderson.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. This is another paper that I'm going to ask the council to support it going to a joint committee of the ordinance and planning board. There are sections in my ward, for example, that this adult day health center may make some sense to have it in the location, so I'm going to ask ask your support in sending it to the joint meeting.
On Councilor Anderson's motion to refer to a joint planning ordinance committee, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Paper will be referred to a joint planning and ordinance committee meeting.
Be ordained that Chapter 12 of Section 800.6.2.7 be amended regarding asphalt, brick, concrete, and soil recycling. Councilor Spatafor.
Yeah, refer this to planning and ordinance as well?
On Councilor Spatafor's motion to refer to planning and ordinance, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Paper will be referred to a joint planning and ordinance meeting.
Be it ordained that Section 3.37 of the revised ordinances be amended relative to demolition notices to abutters. Councilor O'Malley.
Councilor O'Malley?
Thank you, Madam President. So this, I'm sure a lot of us have gotten calls regarding Boston Steel and some of the other things that have been happening in the neighborhood recently. This would make it a requirement that the PIPS department and the city notify all abutters within 1,000 feet of any construction or demolition site of their right to have their property exterminated and, if need be, trapped, baited. This is something that is definitely important as we develop more areas of our neighborhoods, specifically around the river. This is going to be a huge benefit to the residents and making sure that we deal with the situation that we have. And I'd appreciate your support. Point of clarification, do I need to refer this to?
Yes. Goes to ordinance.
So I motion to move this to ordinance so we can discuss it further.
On Councilor O'Malley's motion to move the paper to ordinance, all those in favor? Absolutely.
Question, I mean, we're kind of, well, it's July. So I understand you want to change the water circumference from 300 to 1,000. But tell me, what was the basis of that statement about the rat extermination? Is that a condition of construction?
So
Did you have some information on that?
currently, our ordinance allows for extermination and trapping, baiting of properties within 300 feet of a demolition or construction site. I don't think it's necessarily widely known. So this would also require, when you're sending out these notices, of the property owner's right to have their property exterminated if they do experience a negative impact from development near their home. And I would just increase the amount from 300 to 1,000 because I think that a rat can travel 3,000 feet pretty easily.
If they don't have the, through the chair, if they don't have the right to extermination services beyond 300 feet, why would we change the notice distance to 1,000? Both parts are addressed in this ordinance and by your request.
Yeah.
Okay, good, I agree with it.
So we would just be changing it from 300 to 1,000 and requiring that the notice be sent out to abutters before demolition or construction.
I just put it, so, Madam Clerk, is this all through the President? Is this only for a demolition permit, or is this any type of notice that goes to residents that go from 300 to 1,000? You might know that.
Demolition, substantial reconstruction, so if you're gutting a building, and replacing the interior, it would apply. The building inspector, I guess, could better define substantial renovation.
But it only pertains, so what my question is if we're gonna only call this out, then I'm not saying I'm against it, I think we should change the rules from 300 to 1,000 for every notice. Right? Because why should you only notify the residents over 300 just for demolition? Shouldn't you notify the residents past that 300 mark? Because isn't the 300 mark kind of standard for all the notices?
300 is standard for abutters for building projects, variances,
Everything,
things
right?
like that.
But this is only going to pertain if they're doing demo, right?
Yes.
So this is my opinion, if you're only going to do it for one, you got to do it for all.
What?
Demo that creates rats.
Excuse me,
Because-
Councilor Matheson. Okay, I think that this is a discussion for committee and not for tonight. We're preferring this to, we have referred this to committee.
Okay, that vote was just for the demo, that's all I'm asking, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Madam President.
Construction.
So the matter has been referred to ordinance.
Ordered that the city clerk notify warrant inhabitants of the city who are qualified to vote in primaries to vote in their respective wards and precincts on Tuesday, November 8th from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. to cast their votes for representative in Congress for the 5th District, councilor for the 6th District, senator in general court for the 5th Middlesex District, representative in general court for the 32nd, 33rd, or 35th Middlesex District, sheriff of Middlesex County, Councilor Murphy.
Yes, this is basically a housekeeping issue as we do with any election, and basically having the floor a motion to adopt this so that the clerk can actually notify the inhabitants of the changed state primary date, which I believe is going to be extremely important because is that on a Thursday? It is on a Thursday as opposed to a Tuesday, so that's something that we all need to make sure that gets through papers and that we tell our constituents about the change in date because that will be very confusing to many people. Is it a Jewish holiday?
No, it's Thursday, not a Tuesday, because the Tuesday is the day after Labor Day, the 6th, and the following Tuesday will not allow the Secretary of State to meet federal deadlines for absentee ballots for overseas voters.
So it will be, most people are not used to voting on a Thursday, so it's something I think that we all need to make sure that we try to get that message out to our constituency. So on, I guess my motion to adopt, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The paper is adopted, the order is adopted.
Ordered that a revolving fund be established pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53E and a half, to be limited to the sum of $15,000 in accordance with the provisions of 3.36.3 of the revised ordinances relative to vacant property registration. Councilor Spatafora.
Councilor Spatafora.
This was something that Mr. Webb asked, just to give everybody a little background. It was something we tried to do before the budget season, but we unfortunately ran out of time. Just to give everybody a way of background, right now there are several pieces of abandoned property in the city of Malden. And we have an ordinance that I actually am pretty proud that I created, that they have to notify the city when it's abandoned, but we have to maintain that property for board health reasons and just, I think, professionalism of the neighborhood. So right now, Chris Webb has to go and get a check cut. He's asking for a revolving account so they can do the grass cutting, taking out the trash, maintaining these empty properties, which will be put on the tax bill for a later date. This just gives them an easier mechanism in funding, and he said something in small dollar amounts of $3,000 to $5,000, and as the money comes in, they replenish that account. And I'm just asking, I assume it's going to finance?
Yes.
For this to finance. I just want to give you a little bit of background.
On Councilor Spatafora's motion to refer to finance, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Paper is referred, the order is referred to finance.
Ordered that the city council meet with city solicitor in executive session regarding pending litigation.
Yes, I would like to withdraw that particular petition. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The matter is withdrawn.
Under suspension of docket rules, application for renewal of the self-service gasoline station, King Petroleum, 324 Broadway.
Motion to, on Councilor Anderson's motion to suspend docket rules. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Docket rules are suspended. Councilor Anderson, petition.
Okay.
On Councilor Anderson's motion to refer to license. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The petition is referred to license.
The docket is clear.
The docket is clear. Do you have any personal privilege? Councilor DeMaria.
Thank you, Council President, and I would like to ask that we have a moment of silence for Christine Drinkwater from our treasurer's office who passed away last week suddenly. If that would be okay. Thank you.
All rise, please. For a moment of silence for Councilor DeMaria Christine Drinkwater. Seeing no other lights, do I have